I gave birth to my daughter, Allie, on January 18th, 1994, and I looked into her eyes, and she's the first person I was ever biologically related to that I knew. And it was very overwhelming. My parents told me that I was adopted when I was about 7 years old, but as a teenager, I started to realize I didn't necessarily look like anybody else around me in Mom's big Italian family. So it was apparent to me that, you know, I didn't come from these people, but I always felt part of that family. I was probably 13 or 14 years old, and I finally got the courage to ask because we just didn't talk about it. It was kind of understood we don't talk about being adopted. So I asked my mother, you know, Mom, can you tell me about my real mom? She said, well, your mother was killed in a car accident, and that's why you had to come live with us. And the minute it came out of her mouth, I knew that it was a lie. And I just knew in the back of my head that someday I would have to look and find on my own. From the time when I was in my young teens and I had asked my mother about that very important thing and she had not told me the truth, I felt like emotionally she and I didn't fit together. I would sit up at night and think, is my mom out there somewhere, my birth mom, and you know, what is she doing, and do I have another sister out there? Because I wasn't close to, well, my younger sister was 12 years younger than me, and my middle sister and I just weren't alike, and I just thought there had to be another sister out there that I would, you know, would be like my best friend, and you know, I just felt that was missing. At some point in my 20s, my early 20s, I think I must have seen a column, a Dear Abby, something about this mutual consent registry called the International Soundex Reunion Registry. I sent that information off to Soundex and I ran to the mailbox, you know, every day for 2 months waiting for that information to come back, and it didn't come. So life goes on, you know, I'm working, we're home, and I'm looking through a stack of bills, and there's a letter from the International Soundex Reunion Registry with about 4 yellowing forwarding address stickers on it. And I turned to the second page and there was a handwritten note on the bottom that said, "There is a potential match, please contact us." So I was shaking, but I called and I got Tony Valere on the phone and he said, "She does want to talk to you. Her name is Linda, and here's her phone number. She's living in Florida now. Give her a call." So I did. I got on the phone and I called her, and the first question she asked me is, "What color are your eyes?" And I said, "They're green." And she said, "So are mine. You're my baby." I corresponded with Linda for 10 months without telling my mom that I had found her. In October of that year, I decided to go visit her and meet her in person in Florida. And I was going to take Allie with me. And I didn't want to lie to my mom. And I said, "Mom, you're my mom. You'll always be my mom. And nothing's going to change that." But there was a time when I asked you about my birth mother. You told me that she was dead. And my mom just started to cry. And she said, "I felt terrible about that from the minute it came out of my mouth. You know, can you forgive me? Have you found her?" She wanted to know. So she sat down and she wrote a letter to Linda thanking her for me and for the opportunity to raise me. And I took that with me to Florida and gave it to Linda. From the moment that I searched, and from the minute that I even asked my mom at age 14, tell me about my real parents, it's just all about that basic question, who am I and where do I come from? I think I was fortunate in that I did a lot of things the right way, but it was just kind of a gut reaction that maybe I should have told my mom sooner than 10 months after I found Linda. But for me, I had to work through that because I was going to, you know, bust her in a lie that stood between us for so long. But for us, it was a good thing because that wall that was between us, my mother and I have a great relationship today. We've all come to love each other. And what I tell my daughter, who has more grandparents that she can count, is, you know, there can never be too many people in this world to love you.